It's during the 1830s that we have the rise of a new anti-slavery movement known as the Abolitionists. Before we can talk about the Abolitionists and how they're new, let's talk about the differences between anti-slavery and abolitionism. Anti-slavery believes that slavery is impractical, it's backwards, and it doesn't have a real answer how to get rid of it, but nonetheless, it's going to be a gradual thing. When Thomas Jefferson, he was an anti-slavery guy, even though he owned slaves. But he equated getting rid of slavery like grabbing and holding on to a wolf by its ears. If you hold on to a wolf by its ears and you let it go, what's going to happen? Is it going to bite you? Is it going to run away? That's kind of like what getting rid of slavery is going to be like. What's it going to be like to the economy? Nobody knows. It can kill it, well, they can just kill it. We see that definitely when it comes to the American Civil War and the Southern economy afterwards. But nonetheless, anti-slavery people are also racists. They do not believe in equality amongst the races. The notion of a biracial American society that living in harmony, that's a radical notion back then. That's not necessarily what mainstream America is thinking. Abolitionism, however, is different. Abolitionists believe in racial equality. They believe that blacks and whites can live in harmony together in the United States on equal footing. They're the only people that actually believe this. They also believe that slavery is a sin, and you don't wean yourself off sin. You got to get rid of it. So if you equate slavery with smoking, anti-slavery is kind of like using the patch to quit smoking. It's gradual. It's not, and it takes time. Abolitionism, it's called cold turkey. Getting rid of slavery. You're just going to get rid of it right now. In fact, they have a doctrine for it. It's known as immediatism. Now, before the 1830s, we do have anti-slavery movements. Quakers, Methodists, and Baptists proclaim it as a moral wrong in the 1700s. And we've also seen that Washington and Jefferson questioned the wisdom of holding slaves. But organized anti-slavery before the 1830s is going to be limited to what's known as the American Colonization Society. The American Colonization Society is basically going to come up with a plan to get rid of slavery. It's going to be gradual, it's going to be voluntary, and it's going to be compensated. So if you're a slave owner, you can be compensated for your slaves, but you don't have to do it necessarily, and you don't have to do it right now. You can do it over time. But the problem is, what are you going to do with the now former slave population? As I said before, you cannot have a black and white society here in the United States. It's not a mainstream opinion of this time. So what are you going to do with the former slaves? Well, you're going to send them back to Africa. Well, there comes another problem. Well, number one, by most of the time, most slaves have never lived in Africa. They have as much connection with Africa as most Americans have with whatever nationality they identify with that nation. So I'm mostly Italian, and so I have I'm a number of generations removed from Italian-born and raised ancestors. Well, that's kind of like what's going on with these slaves. They have their generations removed from Africa. They never lived in Africa, and some of their ancestors are the ones that came over here. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is it implies that they came from one spot in Africa. They didn't. But a plurality, or however you pronounce it, came from an area known as Angola, about a quarter of them. That means that 75% of slaves came from elsewhere. But the American Colonization Society said, don't worry, no, don't worry about it. We have the solution. We're going to send them to a new nation. We created one. It's called Liberia. And in fact, to this day, the capital of Liberia is known as Monrovia, named after James Monroe, the only world capital named after a sitting U.S. president. But nonetheless, things are going to start changing in the 1830s. For example, in 1831, Nat Turner in Virginia rebels. He's a field hand with a prophetic vision, and he leads a small band of followers and goes and kills as many whites as they can in August of 1831. About 60 white Virginians are killed. A posse and slaves loyal to those that were killed or captured are going to the loyal to those killed are going to find and capture Turner's followers, and in fact find Turner himself 2 months later and execute him as well. And whites are going to go on a killing spree against slaves. Any nominal connection, even if it's not true, is going to result in a slave's execution. About 100 more slaves are going to be killed. This all sets up the rise of the abolitionists, most notably a Massachusetts man known as William Lloyd Garrison. Garrison is going to condemn slavery as a national sin, and he's going to advocate the immediate emancipation of slavery. And so he starts publishing, most famously, a newspaper, the Liberator, a weekly newspaper that he's going to publish, and people are going to read, and it's going to at least keep slavery in the headlines. It's at least going to keep slavery in the forefront of American politics, even if they don't believe that that blacks are the equals of whites and that slavery needs to be done with now.